So the truck, I bought this truck. I bought the truck as a roller a couple years ago. I put a motor in it, did a bunch of stuff to it. We raced it. I ended up having the right front spindle arm snap off. It sent the truck into the wall. So we did a bunch of body work to get it back to where it was decent to race and stuff like that. It bent everything on this side. The whole right side of the truck has basically been rebuilt. New lower control arm, new upper, steering, sway bar mount, stuff like that. Everything's been changed up. We got new brakes coming for it, but everything's been changed up. Chassis, suspension wise, pretty much. It's got new shocks on it now on the left side. So it's got full rebound shocks on both the front and the rear. The rear, I'll show you. Now, a bunch of crap on it. So what I'll do is I'll show you through here. So I redid the rear end of this. So I cut those old shock towers out and I put new shock towers in. I welded them in there. And what I use for the mount is these are adjustable. So I use a aluminum weight clamp on the pipe here, and it can slide it up and down. It allows me to change the angle of the shocks. So again, the left side's rebound, the right side's basically compression. So that was one of the things I did change on it, so I can move that around. Here's the inside of it. Fire suppression system. There's the battery for it. Fuel system, fuel tank, fuel cell. So come back up top. I did put a new cap on it. I think I showed that in the last video. But so we raced it. I think in October, I think it was October we raced it, and we had a horrible electrical fire on the track. We practiced and practiced and practiced, no problems. The day of the race, we go out for hot laps, and the truck caught on fire. It kept going in the corner, and it would almost like ignition cut. Wah, and then quiet, nothing. The distributor caught on fire. All the wiring, and I mean all the wiring, from the grounds to the positives, everything burnt. I'll throw some photos in there. So now I'm going through and we're rewiring everything. I had to pick up a new ignition harness for it. We're wiring all the new stuff in. I am going to change it over to a solenoid so I could have all my battery connections up top. So up top here we got main power in, we've got board power, we've got alternator power, we've got starter ignition power, and then this terminal here goes directly to starter. But what caused the fire was the coil wire was rubbing on the air box. We had an air box made for us, and that was a mistake. So here's the air box. You see those clean marks right there? That was a coil wire shorting out on the air box. So what it did was it caused everything to burn up and catch on fire, and it basically grounded everything out. So that took that out. So we're waiting on getting some aluminum. I got to make a panel here. I already made the panel there. I'll show you that in a second. Right now I'm working on the wiring. We went to all digital gauges for safety. Before we had oil and coolant running into the cab, now not no more. That's all done and changed over. So the back of the gauge panel, I've got everything wired up except my sensor leads. I've got to drill another hole in the firewall here and grommet it and run it down to the engine. I've got everything tied up, loomed up. Now this is cool because I added these Zeus's to the cage because I wanted this panel to come out, because my brake masters are up here. And another issue we had is all this was covered up and it had a big square dash and you couldn't get to anything. I wanted to be able to get to the brake system. You know, something that important, you want to be able to get to it. So we made the dash panel Zeus where it's removable. This panel up here we're going to leave open because after here goes the windshield cowling. So leave it open so I can inspect it. Same thing, pull this panel out. And what I did was the wiring here. See if I get a better angle for you. The wiring here, I've got a connector that runs down here. With the connectors here, what I could do is when it's windshield's in it and this and that, I can just plug it there and remove the whole dash panel and assembly all as one. and then the wiring stays connected. So they're just weather pack connectors. I've just made a harness. This is the ground for it. So there's a power and ground that runs through here, then it runs through the firewall. All my main grounds run directly to the stud here on the cage of the truck. So all my main grounds run there. I've just got to run this positive for the gauges, and then I'll loom the rest of that, and that's going to get tucked up on the side here and get tied up so it's nice and clean. Same thing with those wires. And then the switch panel. It's a quick car. Everything's fused, so nothing on this truck except the main battery power and the alternator wire are not fused. Everything else is fused. So the gauges, I'm going to have the gauges fused. I'm going to have everything fused. So if there's ever a chance of any other electrical problems or anything like that, it ain't going to happen. It's going to pop the fuse. It's going to drop the current to it. When I bought the truck, we never did the wiring because I'm like, it's fine. It works right now. It's no big deal. Well, it bit me in the ass because it literally burnt everything. It even burnt the windshield. It burnt everything up. So, but I'll pull this out and show you real quick. I still gotta fix this. I gotta put a door in here so we can pull it out like this and look at it. But basically, yeah. So all my grounds on the switch panel for my lights and stuff, they all go to one ground. So it makes it simple to diagnose. Everything on this truck's gonna go to one ground. So if we have an issue, it's gonna take everything out. So you know right away it's a grounding issue. Powers, that's different. We've got the fan, ignition power. Everything's wired in, switched. And we have main board power, which comes from the positive side of the starter solenoid. So we're grabbing power from there. But yep, we got that going on. Another story with the truck is the brakes. We had a problem where driver kept spinning out. Well, driver kept spinning out. Why was that? They had the masters reversed. So when you adjusted the brake bias over here, it was backwards. So every time I was telling him add forward bias, he was actually putting rear. Not his fault. It's the way the truck was built. So we pulled those out, swapped them around, added a new brake line and fitting to it. So we had a little bit of a brake leak. So we got that all situated besides putting new front brakes on it. I had to make some seat risers. My driver's not that tall, so just basically some DOM tubing with some thick washers welded on the top, spaced out with a 3/4 bolt. That's going to be grade 8, don't worry. And basically they're at an angle, so that way they can conform to the seat angle as well. Oil pressure sensor for the truck. But yeah, everything's basically digital now. We're stepping away from all that running fluids in the cab. It's not safe, so we're going to the new era of things. But still a lot of cleanup to do. We got to degrease this whole thing because when they didn't put no extinguisher on it. They put water, and then they realized it was electrical, so they stopped putting water. But now our new distributor has a cap to it, so we shouldn't have any issues with anything rubbing on it. We got a new air box coming for that. Let me show you my panel. So this panel is going to be riveted down. Try to do this with one hand. Tight fit. I'll just put it over top. So this slips over front, goes in there like that. It's bent over the front there, and it covers basically that panel there. And then the dash panel sits in here. So that's pretty much it there. Fan, driver fan. I got to wire that in. Just got the radio harness in there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, the front end. So I'm gonna get a new nose for this truck because the old nose is basically beat up. I don't like the way it looks. It looks crappy. We'll put a new nose on it and make that look nice. The reason for changing the lower control arm was found out that it was slightly bent, so we were a little off on wheelbase. But again, all that's new pretty much on that end. I do want to touch up the frame a little bit, put some paint on it. The bottom ain't so bad, it's the top that needs to be, you know, touched up. Same thing with the rear section. And I could use some paint. yeah, I know someone's gonna ask me. It's a crate motor, an old crate motor. It's a 603 GM Performance crate motor, not a 604, 603. And it's got a Power Master alternator kit on it, basically 1-to-1 aluminum pulleys, and it's got an all-star power steering pump with an all-star reservoir. It's got crossover late model headers. It's got a 10-bolt upper control arm. The lower control arms are all-star performance. If I can show it. Sway bar is a stock GM sway bar per the rules. Radiators and AFCO. The body for this truck is supposed to be an 04 Silverado Chevy. So there's the rest of it, drive line and all that. We still got to tie all the wires up. Right now we're still mocking everything up. We're going to loom everything and tie everything up. But again, we still got to degrease everything and go from there. But it's a slow process, but you know what? When it's done, it's going to be right. Last time we practiced, we were fast, and there's some really, really known fast guys that didn't seem like they can get around us in practice. But then again, it was practice, it wasn't a race. So, all right, that's pretty much going to do it for my update. Thanks for watching. I'll try to get more updates on this truck as we go. There's a bit of work to do. We didn't expect the fire that we had. You know, it's almost like this truck is bad luck in a sense, but I try not to think of it that way. We got spark plug wires coming. Should be here a couple days. Drop the distributor in, tap it over, set the timing, fire it up. Hopefully the motor's alright, because this motor, it got put away hard. So you was on it, and then all of a sudden, boop, that was it. So we didn't have no cool down time or nothing. So hopefully we didn't hurt the motor. We shouldn't have, but hopefully nothing like that. Other than that though, thanks for watching. I'll try to get more videos on the truck, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.